It's a peaceful Sunday afternoon. The sun is shining magnificently in the blue sky, providing not only a bright light to illuminate the day, but also a familiar and comforting warmth. As you gaze outside from your abode, you think to yourself, what a fantastic day. With the scenery being so picturesque, it appears that nothing is wrong and everything is right in the world. While you attempt to savor the present moment and bask in its satisfaction, your momentary sense of tranquility is disrupted once again by intrusive thoughts. For whatever reason, you're reminded of a distressing past experience or a persistent worry regarding the future has reoccupied your attention. Now you're no longer focusing on the present. Instead, you've become transfixed by the past or the looming future with its terrifying unknowns. As we evidently realize, it's arduous to live completely in the present because we're either pondering about the past or the future. When we have opportunities to relax and spend time with people we care about, it seems that no matter what we do, we're plagued by worries that distract us. Today's discussion explores why it's so difficult to remain present during the present moment. In other words, why it's so arduous to focus on enjoying presently satisfying moments where we aren't thinking about the past or worrying about the future. I'll explore this phenomenon by highlighting some of my personal experiences and how I've been affected by it. Finally, I'll conclude by outlining practical methods to assist you in remaining focused on the present and enjoying life's tranquil moments while they're occurring. To begin, I must admit that this phenomenon has affected me to a considerable extent where I'm largely unable to remain fully present during the present moment. Like many, I'm always worried about the future or I'm ruminating about past events. Pondering about the past typically takes the appearance of recalling a negative experience and wondering what I could have done differently. Meanwhile, thinking about the future typically manifests as worrying about more immediate concerns, such as what's going on at work over the next while, or worrying about long-term considerations, such as which career path I'll ultimately embark on and the necessary sequential actions that'll take me there. While this has always occurred, I currently find myself especially unable to fully savor presently tranquil moments because I perceive that I'm ostensibly suspended in time, or that my life is on pause. Here's some context. I've mentioned before that I desire to enter law school, and at this juncture, I see myself eventually becoming a lawyer. I've applied for 2 consecutive years, but I haven't been successful in gaining entrance to any law school thus far, at least in Canada. I won't lie, this circumstance has evoked immense frustration, doubt, and sorrow within me depending on the day. Checking my emails over the last 6 months and seeing rejection letter after rejection letter is evidently discouraging because the doubts creep in. Will I ever be good enough? Is this just a pipe dream? Am I in way over my head? Should I look elsewhere? And is this truly the path that I should be walking down? I'm tormented by doubts and existential crises on a regular basis, but being rejected entrance into law school for a second time has only exacerbated them. Due to these recent developments, I've began to seriously consider a few master's programs as viable alternatives, not only as something productive to do in the meantime, but also as a potential avenue for the future in case law school doesn't pan out for whatever reason. A comment that I've heard in some motivational videos remarks that, quote, "If you have a plan B, then plan A will never succeed," end quote. Work, succeed, manifest, something along those lines, but the point is the same. In response, I've thought, well, yeah, you must have a primary objective to aim for, but what if despite doing your damnedest, it still doesn't work out? How long should you pursue something before you realize that it isn't going to happen? How long should you go before you admit that you've done your best and now you need to acquiesce, or cut your losses? Because if you go further, then you won't be able to return unscathed. Indeed, when does the point arrive where we encounter a significant crossroad and we're forced to choose one path over the other? Dreams can come true, yes, but at the same time not all dreams come to fruition and not always in the manner in which we initially envision. I should note that I'm not advocating to give up too early, or to fold your tent when you experience any pressure or disappointment. Sometimes we're so close to finally making it when we experience the greatest temptation to quit, when we're hovering over the target. What I am saying, though, is that you have to be pragmatic and you can't let your stubbornness overcome you to the point of disaster. You must know when to pick your battles, and this implies being cognizant of when to back off, retreat, or regroup. In my life, I've witnessed this phenomenon tangibly occur with others in addition to experiencing it firsthand. Some of my acquaintances are currently attempting to get into medical school, a feat that's undoubtedly arduous and a robust test of one's determination. There's evidently more demand than supply, and its extremely competitive nature is making some people question its value entirely. They're likely thinking to themselves, it's already going to take at least 10 years before I become qualified, but how many attempts will it take before I get accepted? The average is 5 attempts before an applicant gets accepted into medical school. Could be less, could be more. Let's accept that it takes you 5 attempts, or years, to finally gain admittance. If you begin medical school when you're 26 or 27, then you won't become a fully qualified doctor until you're roughly 36 or 37. That's a significant portion of your life where you have to wait around and then go through the already drawn out schooling. It's easy to ponder about what else you could be doing with that time, and whether the rewards are worth the sacrifice. Some people I know who are embarking on this path have also gone into nursing school as a plan B. The evident rationale is that they're doing something productive and related while they wait around. They're still trying for medical school, but they also realize that there are no guarantees. Long story short, I'm facing a comparable conundrum where I could just sit around, keep applying to law school and hope that I get in at some point. But at the same time, what good is that? If I'm not progressing or improving in some manner, then I perceive the effort to largely be a waste. I've already been more or less sitting around for 2 years and I can't afford to waste any more of my finite time. And thus, a master's degree seems like an attractive option not only to boost my chances for entrance into law school, but also to open up other possibilities. I must admit that I've toyed with the idea of going for a PhD at some point, but it's something that I've only given a passing glance thus far. Pondering about the future and its uncertainty has obviously impacted my state of mind. Although it's currently summer and the weather is nice, I'm not really taking the time to value it. It's just another season in life that doesn't carry any special connotations other than the weather being rather pleasant compared to winter. I'm more preoccupied with progressing to the next stage, and there's a fundamental reason for this, because I'm under pressure to provide for myself and others. Work is inevitable, and delaying instant gratification is critical if we're to have any future at all. However, I'm also realizing that I have to stop and enjoy the present moment at least some of the time, because otherwise I'll eventually discover that all the time I thought I had to relax and enjoy life has suddenly vanished. The days are long, but the years are short. Something evidently true, but we usually ignore this fact until it's too late. Nevertheless, I cannot help but focus on the future and what I must do to facilitate desired outcomes. When I'm spending time with my loved ones, or working out, or engaging in leisurely activities, I cannot escape worrying about the future in some fashion. I surmise that these worries will never disappear entirely, and I often think, ruefully, that this phenomenon is one of humanity's curses. Because our eyes have been opened and we've acquired knowledge, the knowledge of good and evil since the fall of man in Genesis chapter 3, we understand that we're cursed to work and that our existence is finite. Memento mori. Remember that you have to die. Remember that eventually life comes to an end, and therefore, we must make good use of our time before death claims us. For many, this naturally translates into creating the best life possible, but how should this be performed? By sacrificing present pleasures with the intention of ameliorating future suffering. Because if we always pursue instant gratification and never make sacrifices, then the future will be worse than the present, a fate many of us wish to avoid. And so the dilemma arises where we must balance present satisfaction with working hard for situational improvements. How much should we relax in the present, but also how much should we labor and sacrifice to ensure a better future? Evidently, the answer varies with each person, and it appears that despite our best efforts, we never get the balance as accurate as we desire. This leads me to the concluding section where I'll discuss practical methods to assist you in remaining present, during the present moment, particularly when life's more peaceful and leisurely events are taking place. The primary method to achieve this objective is through a mindset shift where we consciously block intrusive thoughts from disturbing our peace. If you're constantly plagued by worries that involve work, finances, or other problems, then there has to be a realization that eventually they'll be addressed and a viable solution will be discovered. Whether you're actively relaxing, on vacation, or experiencing some unexpected downtime, remember that constantly worrying about your problems isn't going to solve them. While the persistent worrying might inspire you to act and find solutions, it might also inspire the opposite reaction, that of paralyzing you due to immense fear. If you wish to resolve a burdensome conundrum, then it's far more probable that a clear and level head will achieve that outcome. Blocking stressors out of your mind for the time being isn't equivocal to abdicating responsibility for them. Quite the opposite, actually. It's understanding that you require time away from a problem or issue in order to rest. Furthermore, after the relaxation period when you return to the task at hand, you can gaze upon an issue with fresh eyes and a new perspective. Perhaps you see something now that you initially failed to understand before, or perhaps you've had an epiphany that ostensibly came out of nowhere. This only arose because you decided to take time away and focus on being present, instead of focusing on the worries that plague your mind on a regular basis. While you're on vacation, this could imply turning your phone off and consciously deciding to respond to notifications later. If you can't turn your phone off completely, then refuse to check work-related emails and notifications until you return from your vacation. Work isn't going anywhere, and there'll be plenty to return to, so you must enjoy your vacation time while you have it. If you're not on vacation, but you're resting at home and you have work the next day, then remaining present during the present moment can be accomplished by immersing yourself in whatever endeavors you pursue outside of work hours. This could be attending a sports game with friends, or another kind of social event. It could be a solid workout in the gym, or having a relaxing evening to yourself reading a good book, etc. Whatever activities keep you grounded and provide relief from everyday stressors, fully enjoying them requires a deliberate effort on your part to block out the distractions. I realize that this is easier said than done, and we can't stop all the intrusive thoughts from entering our minds. I'll admit that I'm still going to worry about something even when I'm spending time with my girlfriend, or relaxing at home with my family, or playing a round of golf. However, as soon as it pops into my mind, I have two choices. I can either continue to entertain the concern and let it detract from my present satisfaction, or I can acknowledge it and endeavor to address it later when the time is more appropriate. The latter choice is what we should aspire to do every time we're supposed to be fully present with others, not mentally thinking about some other issue or concern that can be addressed later. The only exception to this rule is a problem that requires immediate attention or action. Then you should evidently shift your focus. However, what I'm discussing pertains to the moments where you're supposed to be relaxing and enjoying the present tranquility away from life's challenges. Ultimately, life's hardships and difficulties are never going away. It's an inevitable fact of existence, and so we must learn to rest, to enjoy life's more peaceful but often fleeting moments. The occasions that we yearn for when we're going through arduous periods and the moments that we work so hard to desperately obtain. In my case, realizing this fact helps me persist when the doubts set in and when I question what I'm doing. I'm working hard and sacrificing for a better future, but I also have to catch myself when I'm going too far, when I'm failing to enjoy the fruits of my labor. There's always more work to be done, so it can wait. Those priceless moments with family and friends, meanwhile, can't wait. There's only so much time available to spend with them, and therefore, it's necessary to maximize it. If you have children, spend as much time with them as possible because that's what they desire the most from you, your time and affection. The same principle is true with your significant other, or your friends, or your community. Leaving a legacy is important, but also remember that eventually everyone will be forgotten. The career only satisfies so much, and personal achievements only go so far. They lose their luster somewhere down the line, hence why we're always craving for more and for the next hill to climb. Knowing this, the only people who will truly remember and care about you at a fundamental level are your loved ones. So, return their care by reciprocating their efforts. Remain present when you're with them and don't think about things that can wait, because the present quickly becomes the immediate past, then the far distant past where only faint memories remain. Making memories that last a lifetime can only occur when you remain fully present during those key moments. So, worry a little less, relax a little bit more, and trust that everything will eventually fall into place, even when it seems like that's impossible to believe. Lord knows how much easier it would be to mitigate life's burdens and hardships if we trusted and relaxed just a little bit more.